Hello guys and welcome back to the drawing of this week, and you get again I put a vote over on Instagram and you guys voted for an original character, and that's what I've brought here. But this is from my actual original character, which is Blue Angel. If you didn't check that video out, guys, that is from August last year when I first got this book, and ever since we've been creating a whole load of different extra other artwork and things for you to check out and how to do's. Some of them I just take from like Netflix. That's one, for example. Marvel, when it comes out, there's a film. I'll do a video about that and stuff like that, and do a little bit of drawing. But I did again this month. It was all about voting, or all about your guys' opinions or what you would like to see on my channel, and that's why I've been putting out the votes over on Instagram. Thank you very much for those guys and girls that did a vote over there over on Instagram. My name is Blut084, BLUT084 Art and Games. I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, where I play some games and play it on the Xbox and things like that on the Mixer channel. If you haven't already checked it out, check out one of the links and you can check me out over there on Fridays and Saturdays, where I'll be playing lots of different games, selections and other things. But I am live here every single day on the PlayStation, playing games as well. VR is getting more popular, and it's getting more popular with me. I've got a few games still to complete, and I've got some artworks which I've started creating, or should I say art reams. I have been doing Iron Man's Forge. I can't remember what it's actually called, but that place has been created and still being created, and I'll be doing more of that one in the future. So don't forget to check out the other two videos and see how that one is. But today, like I said, it's a drawing of the week, and we've already got all the sketching done. I did the sketch live yesterday, guys, but yesterday I wasn't completely happy with it. As always, on a Monday in the evening, I'll take that sketch and I will refine the lines and change things to the way I would like them to look, and I did. And you can see here, guys, we've got Blue Angel, and I did always plan to have Blue Angel with a sidekick, and you can see his sidekick on his shoulders there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call him. I know it's a similar thing as a Banff, like what is it called in Deadpool? He has his Banff where he can teleport back and forth. So I'm kind of going on that idea with the flight, as well as being able to sort of transfer themselves to somewhere else, and powers like that. It doesn't. I don't know what power sets he really has. You know, there is flight, and the staff is magical, because that is where the sidekick comes from. I'm trying not to burp here, guys. I had a slurp of coffee before I started with City Fall. Yeah, so the sidekick comes out of the staff like a genie, just a little bit more different to what you would think as a genie. He's not a genie; he's his sidekick, and that's where the origination of the character comes from. Again, I'll have more idea as I go through. Maybe this whole week I'll come up with more ideas. You can even suggest yourself something of power sets we think, or the name. I would love some suggestions for names, as my main character is Blue Angel, or Blue Angel, or Blue Angle. Blue Angle seems to be a very popular one. Blue Angel is already kind of taken, and Blut is, well, it's me. So Blut, balut. The French word is egg, or inside of an egg, which if you take all the shell out as it's half formed, they eat that, and it's a delicacy in French. It's kind of weird, but hey, if it tastes good, why not eat it? Especially if it's eggs. So I'm going to carry on with this today. I'm going to be using my fine line pen, which is the 0.1. Sorry, 0.7 pen. And we'll be using a Sharpie for thicker lines, and probably putting in a few details with a fine line Copic marker pen, and loads of other tools I have here. I may put some shading in afterwards, after I've actually put the inking in, because after I've inked, I will rub out all of the construction lines that you can see here. So the only thing that will be left will be the ink that I want to use. That gives me freedom to change a few things, which I may do in this video. Again, this video is going to be roughly 45 minutes to an hour. So if you are here and you're new to the channel, don't forget, you keep watching, or if you're watching back, fast forward to the good bits. So we're going to listen to some more comic story like we always do, and get that playing in the background. I don't need to chat too much because I explained how to draw the way that I did this yesterday, and I do that every Monday on the sketching. Tuesday is always inking. Wednesdays will always be the colouring with Copic markers, pencils, or whatever I've got out lying about. And Thursdays, Fridays, and uploaded Saturday and Sunday is the digital version, which I will put a load more effects in, add a load of different colours that I can't use because I don't have them, and things like that, guys. So if you are a fan of digital art, everything I do on paper turns into something digital and is used with a free app called Critter. Tune in and keep watching for those. Don't forget to subscribe. My name, Jeff.
Wolverine grabs Deadpool by the throat, telling him, "You need to go home."
If you missed this yesterday, guys, the rest of that story that you are listening to now is in the last video.
You just killed your own daughter, and she's kind of the daughter of our Wolverine, and he's kind of our boss. So the evil Wolverine throws Deadpool aside. "Fine, you weren't born of this world, but I will bury you here." Then Jean tells everyone to stop as she floats over to evil Wolverine. They were married. They were together. He traded it all in for this fate. He invites Jean to join him. Once the culling is done, they can live happily ever after right here. She considers it for a second. She legitimately does. And then she bombards him with the power of the Phoenix. It doesn't even faze Dark Wolverine as he smacks her aside, and then he picks her up and flies off. He will force her to be his dark bride if he has to. Then as he's preparing the ritual, Wolverine and the X-Force leap in on top of him now that they've accomplished all of their separate missions. And Deadpool says it best, "Hot Wolverine on Wolverine action!" With everyone swinging at evil Wolverine, he is slightly distracted, and Psylocke tries to patch into his mind, but he has defenses and he throws it back at her. Then as our Wolverine goes in to rescue this version of Jean, Dark Wolverine cuts him in half with a laser beam. Then everyone finishes because it didn't happen. Fantomex is at it again. Psylocke then realizes that Fantomex is back, which means he must have all of those extra life seeds that they found inside of the Celestial. "Use one of them on Dark Wolverine," she shouts at him. "Make him normal again." And Fanto holds up the seed with a sad face, telling her, "There's only one, Psylocke, and if we use it, we can't save Warren." So Jean tells the X-Force to take it and leave. Wolverine turns to her. "There's no way I'm leaving you with this chump." He then turns to the X-Force. "Take that chump down." But even Fantomex can see that Wolverine's judgment is clouded. Jean sees that he won't give up, so using her powers, while her resistance holds back the Dark Wolverine, she lifts up the X-Force. Wolverine tells her to stop. "I won't let you do it. I won't abandon you again, Genie." "You are going to abandon me, Logan, because I'm not your Genie." Then looking at Dark Wolverine, she tells him, "I'm his. Goodbye. Save your world." And she sends them through Gateway's portal with the one life seed. Then they land right in front of the last person they wanted to see, Warren, with the Dark Angel persona in full control and his own army. "Thank you for bringing me the life seed. Now, please, hand it over. This story is only just beginning." Wolverine, Fantomex, Deadpool, and Psylocke now all stand ready to do what they have to. With Deathlock bound by
I'm going over everything I've already drawn again, guys.
Uses his powers of misdirection right away.
So it may take a while, but it won't take as long
We've got a plan in place
as if I sketched it.
So Wolverine gets his claws ready. "Worthington, you son of a bitch!"
Some of these lines that I've put here as well are
Wolverine
just
dies
construction
in
lines
slashing
and
of Warren's
really
armor, but then a
confusing
child
sometimes to
named
look through
Genocide
them.
that looks like pure radiation blasts away half of Wolverine's body, bringing it down to the bones. Psylocke runs to his side in an attempt to block the nerve endings in Wolverine's body so that he can't feel the pain, and then she turns to Warren. "How could you do this?" And Warren calls for Famine, one of his horsemen. Deadpool sees him. "Oh, come on, not the Jenny Craig drum machine." Then he hits the ground, instantly starving. "Ugh, that feels awful, like diarrhea made of sadness and anger." Angel then walks over to Fantomex. "The life seed, please, Fantomex." In response, Fantomex stabs him in the foot. "Ugh," Warren yells out. "I never liked you." Psylocke goes right to work cutting up the Horsemen of War. Then she leaps over cutting up the arm of Dark Beast, and as Warren goes in to kill Fantomex, she stabs him in the chest from behind. Angel turns around to see her struggling with his followers, and he tells them not to harm her. She is important. Meanwhile, Deadpool has dragged himself over to Deathlock, where he learns that they took control of the world, a place where all kinds of experiments have been conducted, and Fantomex has been guarding it. Then, with a smoke grenade, everyone runs out of the room as quick as they can. They eventually make it back to Fantomex's ship, where they take off, deciding that they can't fight with only half of Wolverine, a famous Deadpool, and an injured Fantomex. But as they leave, Psylocke jumps off the ship, landing in front of Warren, telling him, "I'm not giving up on you, Warren." She tries to tell him that she will save him. Warren has to be in there, but he informs her, This is my evolution. This is what I was always supposed to become. She wants to know. Is he supposed to become Apocalypse? Because they just escaped a world run by Apocalypse, and it was a nightmare. But Warren explains that he is here because the world has been distorted. When the Scarlet Witch said no more mutants, she reduced their numbers to less than 200. The natural evolution of mankind has been altered, and he plans to correct that. He flies high into the sky and he brings Genocide with him. And they land in the middle of a town where he launches into the sky again and he watches. Genocide hits the ground hard, and in a massive explosion, the town and the lands around it are destroyed and altered, wiped clean from the face of the earth in a mushroom cloud. Angel then brings Dark Beast to the spot where he places the life seed, and they watch as it expands, and it begins to alter the very face of Earth, creating a new evolution, a new path. Time begins to move at an accelerated rate around them while they are protected in their laboratory. And while they are safely removed from their time sphere, they watch the effects of the life seed. And they watch as 120 million years of evolution happen in the span of a single day in front of them. Meanwhile, X-Force isn't quite done yet. Deadpool is eating some cheesy chum-chums to replenish himself while Wolverine is trying to heal. But Phantom X has found the world. Since it was his laboratory, he has his ways to track it, and he sees that this weird forest is now in front of them. They land and they begin looking for Angel and his followers when suddenly Deadpool hits the ground again. Damn it, Famines, dope beats got me again. So Deathlock cuts the magic carpet that they are both riding on in half, throwing Famine and Death down to the ground. Angel then lands over by Phantom X, prepared to continue their fight, while Deathlock continues to tear apart Death. Angel pins Phantom to the ground. Phantom fires a shot into the sky, and Angel thinks that he's won, until Phantom's sentient bullet comes back, hitting Angel in the head. Genocide then lands next to him, telling Angel to leave while he handles this rat. And as Angel leaves, Phantom taunts him. "Ah, come on, at least acknowledge that you're leaving because this rat beat you." As Genocide begins to blast at Phantom X, he begins to retreat, and then he finds Deadpool sitting around eating what appears to be a weird fruit. Figured you dropped the ball. Oh, and what did you accomplish today, Wade? We killed Death and caught Famine? We? Well, Deathlock did. Good. Let's get his master's location. Funny, that's what I said, and it looks like Deathlock's psychopathic coach is back in control, because you gotta smile. Meanwhile, back over outside of San Francisco, Angel reports back to Beast that Death is dead. Beast informs him that he'll need to pick a new horseman of death, and then they both fly up to the dead body of a Celestial, as it appears that a Celestial's decision was to force evolution, and Angel serves evolution. Back with X-Force, Deathlock comes out after torture and famine for the information, and he discovers that Angel has retreated to Ankaba, a city underneath the North Pole. Phantom X tells everyone that they need to stop Angel before he does this crazy single-day evolution into the entire planet. As they speak, he's trying to scorch the skies. The age of Archangel is coming. Luckily, Deathlock, Phantom X, and Deadpool have all arrived in the North Pole to stop the age of Archangel from happening. Meanwhile, back in Phantom X's ship, Famine has begun to tap his finger on the chair, starting a beat that leads to an explosion. With Phantom X's ship beginning to burn due to its bioelectrical nature, Famine stands up and looks down at the recovering Wolverine. "You could burn in hell, boy, like my children did." And he begins to walk off into the snow. Meanwhile, in his base, Warren walks down into Psylocke's cell to inform her of her new role as the new Horseman of Death. Phantom X can see what they're doing in his lab. They're preparing it. So he turns to Deathlock and he tells him, "You gotta go destroy that." Luckily, Deathlock downloaded a map after Phantom X refused to let him destroy the world the last time they had to do a battle with someone trying to take control of the world. "You know, no one likes 'I told you so,' Deathlock," Phantom tells him. And then he and Wade head off to kill Warren. The only problem is that as soon as they get to the roof, the Blob crushes Phantom X by sitting on him. Deadpool begins dodging and shooting, and the bullets begin to bounce off of Blob's massive size and skin. And once Deadpool runs out of bullets, the oversized Blob grabs him and gets ready to literally eat Deadpool. He takes out his sword and he stabs the Blob's tongue. Deadpool then hits the ground. "Phantom X, if you can hear me in there, I'm coming for you, buddy!" Except Famine has been watching from overhead. And as he prepares to drop Deadpool again, Wolverine puts his claws to Famine's head. Famine's drums begin to tap, and then the Blob becomes famished, turning into piles of skin. Deadpool watches as this is happening in front of him and can't help but crack a joke. A bra is a big decision in any man's life, but wow, I just don't see any other options for you. Famine feels the claws against his skull. "You promised that if I did this, you wouldn't kill me." "I did, and I won't," Wolverine says as he cuts off Famine's arms. Meanwhile, Warren brings Psylocke into his inner chambers to show her the Death Seed, the very thing that changes a person into a horseman, and the thing that corrupted Warren to begin with. Phantom X crawls out from underneath all of Blob's skin, gasping for air and complaining about the smell. Then he jumps into the nearby water, shouting, "Unclean!" As
Unclean! Very much, definitely much so.
And he begins to run towards the inner chambers. Phantom X comes up for air, only to meet another person to have joined this fight from the Age of Apocalypse, the evil Bobby Drake. This evil Iceman betrayed everyone in the Age of Apocalypse, and now he needs to ensure that his new boss is happy. He takes all of the water from the bay, growing to the size of a building. Wolverine tells Psylocke through their psychic link that he's back and she needs to kill Warren if she has a chance. Seeing a chance, she kicks a gun up into her hands and she opens fire, only to have him smirk and tell her, "This is the warrior that I've been waiting for." Deadpool jumps off, slicing off chunks of Bobby, but Bobby responds by creating 3 giant versions of himself, and he blasts Deadpool with his gold beams. As all of the giants form around him and unable to move, Wade thinks back to one thing. "Mr. Krusty Bottoms, my love, my cat, I didn't leave any food out for him. The darkness will come for him next." Then Bobby shatters the frozen Deadpool into pieces. Back with Warren, he walks Psylocke into a room with an altar. Her being unconscious after he dodged the bullet, he sets her down, informing her that they will rule this new world together. But back at the bay, Fantomex is trying his best to outrun the onslaught of ice that Bobby is throwing at him as he makes his way to the edge, and he leaps off the cliffside. Luckily, his ship is recovered and is waiting for him down there. So as he's landing on it, the ship asks him, "Should I open fire?" And Fanto tells her that we're leaving. Save the energy. Meanwhile, Deathlock has made it to the inner labs of the world, only to find Dark Beast and the Horsemen of War waiting for him. War strikes him from behind and begins to infect him with pain, fear, loss, murder, rot! He infects him with a desire for war. Wolverine looks over to see Fantomex leaving the whole area as he flees, and he realizes that he was just a bandit. Then Bobby sees him climbing up the side of the tower. So Wolverine jumps off to kill Bobby. Back with Angel, he tears.
Hopefully you can see what I've done with the darkness, the darker toes.
Everyone is failing. Deadpool is in pieces. Wolverine is fighting an ice giant.
I will delete,
this may be a lost
erase all of these lines that you do see after I've inked it all.
And Wolverine is having all of the air around him freeze, and this is causing him to not drop Bobby.
Sometimes that's a bad idea. That's why I'm kind of still keeping with all the darkness that I've shaded there already. It does look alright with that. A lot better.
Nightcrawler, Sabretooth, and Jean Grey of the future all arrive and begin taking Bobby apart. With the knowledge that genocide is scorching the atmosphere, Nightcrawler teleports right into the central room, grabbing his hands onto Genocide's helmet. He then teleports himself and Genocide into the room with Angel and Psylocke, and everything begins to burn around them as they take cover. He then teleports over to Psylocke, grabs her, and teleports her back to Wolverine and the rest of them. They realize she may be lost. Meanwhile, Angel flies into Genocide, trying to get him to contain his flames, and then he tells everyone to see to the boy while he plants the life seed. Evolution cannot be stopped. As Nightcrawler bamfs everyone right into Angel's path, Wolverine starts the fight by slashing at Angel. Seeing his plans of evolution potentially crumbling around him, Angel blasts outside and has Bobby hold Sunfire still while he moves towards the central point in the world where they are scorching the sky. If he could just plant the life seed, this will all be over. Luckily, the heroes still have Nightcrawler, and he bamfs Wolverine and Sabretooth right into the air above Angel, and they tackle him, and they all begin to tumble back down to the earth. Meanwhile, Fantomex is trying to talk some sense into Psylocke, so she pulls out a knife, slicing his throat. Quickly, she realized what she has done and how horrible it was, and with a momentary lapse in her mental fortitude, Jean breaks in, removing the threat of death, trapping it deep inside Psylocke's mind. The real Psylocke begins to wake up in Fanto's arms, and she realizes that he misdirected her. It's what he does! That's when he tells her what she needs to do, and it's not going to be easy. Back on the ground, Sabretooth and Wolverine are hacking and slashing into Angel, but he is able to deflect them both, so Nightcrawler bamfs onto his back, only to be stabbed by Angel's wings. That's the moment that Jean Grey arrives with the power of the Phoenix and begins to burn Angel, except Angel's power is greater than that of the Phoenix, and he throws her aside. Wolverine tackles Angel, pinning him to the snow, and that's the moment that Warren speaks out, "Wolverine, kill me while I have control!" This causes Wolverine to pause, so Angel blasts him. Surprised you fell for that. Then as Sabretooth leaps in, Angel guts him, leaving him for dead, and with all 4 of his assailants down, he flies back up to the world, prepared to take his victory, only to see Psylocke and Fantomex in his path. They both begin swinging at him, but Angel cracks Fanto in the back of the head, telling him, "You were always angry she picked me over you, weren't you?" He then kicks Psylocke in the gut before getting punched across the jaw by Fanto. Angel finally has had enough as he launches into the sky, launching knives at the 2 of them, and then with the both of them on the ground, he runs over to bury a knife into Fanto's forehead. Realizing he is at a loss, Fanto radios into the world for his own experiment, and he tells Automaton to release him. Back on the bridge leading to the end of the world, Psylocke bombards Angel, mentally forcing him to the ground, but then he just throws her aside, and he keeps moving. Somewhere else in virtual reality memories, a young kid Apocalypse going by the name of Evan is leading a happy and normal life. That's when his uncle Cluster, which looks conveniently like Fantomex, walks in and tells him that he has to go. What he's been learning and preparing for is here. And he wakes up from his perfect world into the real world with a suit in front of him. Automaton informs him, Evan, it is time for you to save us all. Back with Angel, he doesn't understand why the world hasn't scorched the earth yet. It should have burned the skies and burned the ground. He then looks up to see Sunfire is absorbing all of the energy. Evan then rockets in out of nowhere, hitting Angel so hard that he bends his back, informing him, you will not succeed, villain! The two of them land in the main halls of the world, and they begin their fight, except Evan has all of the power. He is the Genesis! And he blasts Angel back. Automaton walks over to Fantomex, and Fanto tells him that they have to save Sunfire. He can't contain all of that energy. Angel and Evan go back and forth until finally Angel gets the better of Evan, throwing him down, telling him, it's not your fault. You were born for this. And then with him finally having won, Psylocke stabs him with the life seed. He hits the ground, and he looks up at Psylocke. Betsy, where am I? But then the change begins, as beams of light begin to pour out of him. Meanwhile, Sunfire is finally absorbed by the power that he's been trying to stop. Fanto tells Automaton that he needs to save Sunfire. He can't die for a world that isn't his own. But it's too late, and he burns up having prevented the Age of Apocalypse, or the Age of Archangel from ever happening. Warren hits the ground, and Psylocke hits her knees at his side. Warren, it hurts so bad. Dying, Bets. I'm really... No, you're fine. It's going to be okay, Angel. Just close your eyes. So he does. And instead of feeling the pain and feeling his own death and mortality, Betsy gives him what they both want. A life together. She gives the two of them the mental image of an entire lifetime, where they got married, they had kids, they teach their kids, they grow old together. And as Warren is dying of old age, he holds Betsy's hand and tells her that he loves her. And she tells him that he deserves all of the happiness in the world. She then kissed him on the forehead, telling him he was her hero. Back in the real world, Fanto tries to snap Psylocke out of the trance that she placed herself into. He tells her that they have to go as the world is crumbling all around them. With tears in her eyes, she tells him to leave her here. Leave her! But he won't. He takes her to the ship where Automaton and Evan are, and they blast off, and they land in the snow far, far away. But they find Deathlock and Wolverine. And, to make things even better, Deathlock collected up all of the pieces of Wade, because he loves him. Deathlock explains that he loves all of them. He had to learn to love to defeat war. And as Psylocke looks into the snow, she sees Warren walking through it. She runs over, kissing him and calling his name. And with the world burning behind them, he asks her, who are you? The life seed remade him as an entirely new person. A true angel. He is no longer Warren Worthington. Now the Britain Corps has kidnapped both Fantomex and Psylocke. She questioned why he chose this to be involved in with everything that's been going on in the world of the mutants recently. And he explained that because they are in Otherworld, it is the duty of the Captain Britain Corps to watch the entire Omniverse, not just his home world. Otherworld is the home of the Captain Britain Corps and the court of Camelot, ruled by King Arthur. It is a world of magic and intrigue, and also where Captain Britain has taken Psylocke and his new prisoner. Psylocke asks him why he has brought her here, and he explains, for the Battle of Otherworld. Brian walks her through the castle, explaining that they need her, and they have no idea who's behind these attacks. But the person behind the attacks, their goal is to reach the Tower Omniverse. Her other brother, Jamie, explains that whoever they are, they know the Corps well, as they've anticipated every move, and that's why they needed to bring Psylocke back. It's one move that no one would expect them to do. Elsewhere, back on Earth, Deadpool, Wolverine, and the Age of Apocalypse version of Nightcrawler that is now joined to X-Force are fighting it out with villains when they get a call from Automaton. Psylocke and Fantomex have been abducted from X-Cavern. That's when Brian explains to Psylocke that they took Fantomex to answer for his child-killing ways. Fantomex is an anomaly. He only exists in one reality. Because of that, the punishment will be severe. After his trial, if he is deemed guilty, they will sentence him to being erased from existence. No one will even remember him. He tries to argue that he prevented a war, or possibly 7, but they don't care. They deem him guilty, and they deem the punishment to be severe. The argument is that they have no evidence that the child Apocalypse would have ever actually committed his crimes. They only have facts, and the fact is Fantomex killed a child. Meanwhile, Wolverine has rounded up Gateway, a friend that can teleport people anywhere, and they have tracked Psylocke and Fantomex to a dimensional disturbance, a doorway to Otherworld. Automaton explains that Otherworld is the source of magic, a dimension outside of dimensions, where the denizens guard the intersection between all of reality. Deadpool, with his typical wit, comments, "Magic Land, eh? Well, I'm a 16th level ranger in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Chaotic neutral. Saving throws, oh, plenty." As they walk in, Wolverine tries to calm them down. "Ain't really like that weed. It's a striking place. Green hills, fairies, pixies, kind of the old wizards. I don't think we'll..." But as they enter Otherworld, Deadpool's head is cut off. "Ah! Kindly old wizards, he says as his head goes flying. The team just walked into the middle of a fight between the Britain Corps and the attacking forces, and they see the leader of the enemies, a goat-headed man casting rather large spells. Meanwhile, Psylocke dons her Captain Britain outfit and prepares to fight with her family. With all of this happening, Fantomex has been placed into a machine that will inject him with a substance that will erase him from existence. No one will even remember that he existed. He feels the injections going into his head, and he feels his brains starting to give up on life. He has 3 brains in his head, and slowly he loses one, then another, and just as the third is begging to be put out of its misery, Psylocke breaks the cell open to free him. Fantomex looks at her confused and disoriented. Mother is gone. Father has killed her. Cold. I want to go home. She grabs him and pulls him out of the machine, only to turn around and see her brothers waiting there with the Captain Britain Corps. Her brother tells her to just leave Fantomex here. In a few moments, you won't even remember him. But she blasts everyone with psychic power and walks out of the castle. Back with Wolverine, he jumps at the goat-headed man, prepared to end whatever this conflict is, except with one simple spell. The goat man grabs Wolverine by the orb of metallium, and he watches as it crushes Wolverine's skull, compacts his brain, twists his spine, and breaks his Nightcrawler looks up at the situation.
I think we're done.
My God! Before he teleports up to
We're ready to get rid of the construction lines. All the pencil shadings. I'm going to add...
He grabs Deadpool's head by shoving a sword in the back,
Using
and
X
Deadpool
here.
tells him, this place is like an enchanted vacation. Back with Psylocke, she tries to make it to the door leading back to Earth 616, but instead, Jamie appears before her, telling her to stop. Fantomex is a murderer, so she is forced to jump out of the castle and out into the open world of Otherworld. While Brian would have chased after her, he gets distracted as word is the Goat Man is attacking a nearby village, the one that he sent his lover Magan to. So his priorities are slightly altered to go save her. Back with Nightcrawler, he gets everyone to Magan's town to see them all relieved to see Wolverine and the X-Men. She's so thankful that Earth would send them to help, but Wolverine explains that they are here to recover Psylocke and Fantomex, and if Brian gets in his way, they're gonna have a whole lot more in their hands. Meanwhile, back with Psylocke, she has run out of options and decided to bring Fantomex to the Forest of Sorrows to see if Crow will help them, someone her father banished ages ago. While he may not like her or her family ties, he does have the power to wipe the poison out of Fantomex's mind. But he refuses until she offers something that he needs. The only thing that she could possibly trade him for Fantomex's life. Back at the Britain Corps base, they're trying to figure out how Goathead had access to the mythical orbs. The orb that he used is one of the 3 with immense power. They were supposed to be held by Merlin, but somehow they had it to use against Wolverine. And to make it even more confusing, the orbs are still right where they were left, locked up in the Britain Corps vault. So, where is Goathead getting his power? Then as Brian and Jamie try to put this together, the capsule is suddenly under siege by the undead awoken by the orb of necromancy. How is he doing this? And to make matters even more challenging, the goat-headed man has sought out an old villain of Fantomex's, the Skinless Man. Everyone begins to battle, preparing their own assaults all over the world of Otherworld. But that's when Fantomex wakes up next to Psylocke. She saved him. He begins to inquire as to what actually happened. What about her brothers, her family? And she tells him, oh, she won't be invited to the family reunion this year. He then asks her if she's okay. She tells him she isn't at all. She erased the man that she loved, Warren Worthington. She betrayed her family by saving Fantomex, and she just liberated a child killer. Fantomex apologizes and tells her
I gotta do the wings now.
that she didn't love Warren before the Dark Angel event because he needed her to doubt her love. It was the only way that she'd be able to do what she did. She turns on him with her psychic blades ready to kill him for manipulating her. But they quickly calm down as she informs them that they need to get out of Otherworld now before her family tries to kill him again. Back with Wolverine, Deadpool, and Nightcrawler, they are led down some tunnels and out to an open battlefield where they find dragons, dinosaurs, and giants moving towards the town that they intended to protect. The battle for the town has begun, and Wolverine and Deadpool move towards Goathead's main base to try and assassinate him, while Nightcrawler helps Magan and her forces with the battle. While this is going on, Psylocke and Fantomex load up on a flying dragon to make their own escape until the Skinless Man stops them. He knocks Psylocke off of the dragon and he wraps his muscles around Fantomex before asking Fanto a simple question: where is my skin? Wolverine and Deadpool make their way up the tower and into the main chambers of Goathead's army. And as they enter, Wade finds multiple orbs in front of him and he questions, what are these? But then the goat-headed man appears behind them, telling them, you don't stand a chance of killing me. Back with the others, Psylocke and Fanto are bound up tight with no escape, and the Skinless Man explains to Psylocke why he hates Fanto so much. He is a mutant with the power to stretch and mold his skin until he was betrayed by Father and Fantomex. He was then left in Otherworld where he was punished for his own attempted assassination, and the punishment was the removal of his skin. Eventually, he learned how to move his muscles like his skin, and he went to go get his skin back from the Britain Corps, but he discovered someone named Fantomex had already taken it. So he asks again, where is my skin? When he can't get an answer, he begins to peel back Fanto's mask. He begins to cut off his face. Everyone is in dire straits. The battle is getting fierce all over Otherworld, and the most volatile of them is the battle in town, and it looks like it's a loss. They are losing their footing, and there are no reinforcements coming. So Nightcrawler takes Magan by the head, and he leans in to kiss her a final farewell, only to have Brian arrive informing Nightcrawler she is spoken for. The Britain Corps flies in, pummeling all of the enemies here, while Brian asks Magan, what was she doing? Everything was a loss as she moved on to the elf, and Nightcrawler tells him, do not call me that! Back with Fonto, Skinless Man is holding his face, telling him, beg, beg! Luckily, Psylocke is a psychic, and she uses everything she has to shut off Fontomex's pain receptors and shut down Skinless Man. She wasn't using her powers because it would make her family aware of their location through their psychic link. Fonto gets up, putting his face back on so that it can heal, and then he puts his mask over the wound. But when Psylocke opened up her mind, she saw that the rest of X-Force had come to Otherworld to save them. It's time to reunite the group. The battle rages on while Wolverine and Deadpool are thrown around by the goat-headed man, except that he's about to win over them, and that's when Merlin and Roma arrive. Awoken from their sleep, they intend to shut down the goat-headed man, except they didn't wake up, as it's another misdirection from Fontomex, and the goat-headed man can see through it, shutting it down. Psylocke hits the ground and she tries to pry into the goat-headed man's mind to find out who he is and how this is all happening, and that's when everything makes sense, and it's horrific. Goathead knocks everyone down. He flees out of the area only to arrive at his goal of the Omni Doors, the doorways to the entire Omniverse. He will rule all of creation. And while he stands there, there is one man left standing between him and his goal, Jamie Braddock. Brian is on the ground near them, and Psylocke, from her location, transmits psychically what she learned to Brian's mind. She tells him everything. Goathead is Jamie, their brother, and Brian needs to kill him. You see, years from now, Jamie will make a deal with the Goat Devil to acquire cosmic omnipresent enlightenment. But the evil tricks him into controlling Jamie's body. He then takes the magical orbs and he travels back in time to the weakest point in the recent history for the Britain Corps. This day, the day that their sister returned and betrayed them. The Corps, they are distracted. Brian can end it all right now if he kills Jamie for the actions that he hasn't committed yet. But Brian can't do it. He can't kill his family, not for something that Jamie hasn't done yet. So Psylocke does the unthinkable. She takes control of Brian's body and uses it to strangle Jamie. With tears in his eyes, Brian is forced to watch as he kills his own brother. Then, throughout the Omniverse, the goat heads all vanish, having never existed. Brian holds his brother close in his arms as Psylocke and X-Force finally get to the location. Cries out telling her they could have found another way, but she informs him. Millions of souls were being lost every second. This was the only way. And you knew that, Brian. So you made me kill Jamie so you could remain the good guy. And with that, she walked to the exit. So what did she give up to save Fontomex's life? And once they had their adventure in Otherworld, they needed a distraction. Which brings us to Madripoor right now, where a woman in a short skirt is knocking on a door. It opens and she walks inside to see Bobby Drake naked, lying in a bed with dozens of beautiful women. Without looking at her, he tells her to get undressed and get in bed with him. So she climbs onto the bed and tells him, don't worry, me love you long time. It's actually Deadpool dressed up like a hooker, pointing a gun at his face. Bobby begins to get up. If you had just pulled the trigger, I'd be dead. But you couldn't resist the quip. Then with a powerful punch, he knocks Wade through the window and clear across the city with Nightcrawler and Wolverine watching. Wade's way didn't work. Now we try the plasma grenades way. Gotta be a few hundred feet from the pedestrians to detonate that. Not to worry. Nightcrawler then bamfs into the room and grabs onto Bobby's back. We'll be high as a kite, won't we, Bobby? Kurt? And he bamfs the two of them up into the sky. Meanwhile, Fontomex and Psylocke aren't helping because they are attending the funeral of her brother that she was forced to kill in our last story, Jamie Braddock. Nightcrawler and Iceman hover over the city, and Bobby ices over the grenade, freezing Nightcrawler to himself and the grenade. If you want to blow me up, you're gonna have to do it yourself, buddy. Nightcrawler thinks about what he's doing. He and Bobby have been through so much. He was there when Nightcrawler lost his wife, and he saved his life during the second coming of Apocalypse. But Kurt needs to do this, because the true cost of Bobby's betrayal can't be measured. He doesn't look at this as killing Bobby Drake today, because he considers him lost years ago. Wolverine leaps into the sky, slicing Bobby's hand off and freeing Kurt. Then, while Bobby falls into the building below, Kurt bamfs himself and Wolverine to the ceiling above Bobby Drake, prepared to drop the grenade again. Except this Iceman has learned a few new tricks that this day and age's Iceman doesn't have. And the evil Iceman grows to the size of a giant. The growth startles Nightcrawler and Wolverine, and Nightcrawler activates the plasma grenade by mistake, and he drops it to the streets down below. As he tries to go for it, Bobby Drake freezes him in place. So Wolverine jumps off the building, grabbing the grenade and holding it to his chest. Then as he hits the ground, he contains the blast by blowing himself up. Back at the X-Cavern, Fonto can't help but notice Psylocke has been off because she doesn't even seem to care that she killed her own brother. So he finally grabs her by the shoulder, asking her, what did you give up for me? Because back when she saved his life in Otherworld, That's when she changed. She turned and she asked him, "You want to know what I gave up? I gave up my sorrow and capacity to ever feel again. Thank God I did, because after everything we've done, it would have pushed me over the edge." Back in Madripoor, Bobby has made dozens of Iceman clones, and they are all fighting against Nightcrawler on the roof. "Kurt, this Wolverine isn't the Omega weapon. He is weak. You picked the wrong side. Why couldn't you just come with me and enjoy this time period? We could have gotten a steak, some ice cream, watched the sunset over the blue ocean. Why is this so important for you to get your revenge?" Nightcrawler then bamps into the room where Bobby Drake is sitting. "To make sure you don't get to enjoy those things." He then grabs Bobby and he bamps the two of them to a furnace. "What is this, Kurt? This is where you die." Kurt then throws his sword to the side. Two old friends fighting to the death. No weapons, no tricks. They go back and forth, punching each other with the force of two men who have already given up everything in another lifetime. Just as Bobby appears to be winning, Kurt kicks him over to the furnace, melting part of his face. He then walks over and he opens the door to the furnace, bringing the temperature into the whole room and forcing Bobby to begin changing back to normal. He then picks him up. "Give me another shot, Kurt. I'll change." "Yes." And then Kurt lifts up Bobby, prepared to throw him into the furnace. "You'll melt." "Kurt, I just wanted to enjoy my life." "I hope you did." And then he throws him in. Through the screams of Bobby melting, Kurt tells him, "Sunfire sends his regards." Down on the street below, Wade is helping Logan walk into the alley.
Okay, right.
"You're lucky I found you, Logan. I only stopped
Bad
because I thought you
time.
were some sweet street barbecue. Almost took a bite before I realized it was my little snuggle cousin."
Okay, so now we've done all the construction lines, put all the dark lines in that I want to be putting in. Definitely done the wings as well, and there's a little bit of detail I want to put on the wings after I've taken away the construction lines. I do like the bit here, but I've changed the wings since the original design a little bit. Don't know if you can see any of that, but yeah, they've changed it a little bit. I now need to put a lot more. I just need to put that there. There, it just doesn't seem to look right. Yeah, okay. I'll still. I might do that. My goodness, I might still add a little bit more to this as we go along, because inking is not finished yet. Because that is just the first stages of inking. So now we get rid of all of the. Before I do that, I'm going to go with my sketchy, go over the bits where I think it really needs sketching, or shade sketch with a Sharpie, or you can use felt tip if you wish. I'm not colouring today. This is purely it gives you a darker line where you have already put something. So when I actually rub out the lines in a moment, you'll be left with just the ink. And as I've got shading in a fairly good place already, I kind of want to use that as a guideline to where I think I can put pen, or a darker pen, thicker pen, hence the Sharpie. Gives everything just a thicker line, makes things pop, which is what you want. You want things to pop. Again, I'm not coloring. I'm just adding in shade where I think, yeah, that'll make it good. I am going over what I've already done as well, as you can see, just to definitely confirm that is dark shaded. Like so. Because what I have been doing is not adding in the shading until afterwards. Well, adding the shading and then completely rubbing it all out. And then going, where did I put that shading? Where did it look good? So now I'm learning from my lesson, my own mistakes, and actually doing what is required, when it's required, sort of thing. The wings may need a little bit, but I think that's going to have to happen after I've taken away the construction Again, there's another shading here. And the shorts. Again, not much, but some. Because what you'll see the color pop when it pops. And when I pop on the color, you'll see it. You see it? See it? See what you see. If you see it, say it. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, put it down. Put it down because you're going crazy with it. Right. So that's all of that. Let's get rid of that shading. Give it a second to dry so I can have a slurp of my coffee. You can listen to the rest of that and then I'll get on.
Right in front of them. Done? Yes. I've killed my friend. And they all bam back to the X-Cavern.
Bam.
Over in Paris at the Eiffel Tower, Wade begins to follow a man that he knows is carrying a rather large amount of money. He's bringing it somewhere. As he looks down at the man, he sees the man pushed in a brick, revealing a hidden passage. And he hears an automated voice saying that the teleportation port will be activated. Welcome, valued customer. Before the man walks in, Wade jumps down and begins to change out of his suit to see exactly where this teleporter goes. Once inside, Wade walks down a long hallway and a woman greets him, welcoming him to the White Sky showroom. During this, over at Cavern X, the headquarters for X-Force, Elizabeth begins to wake up, leaving the sleeping man in her bed, thinking all that she wanted to do was try and fill this void left inside of her. Fantomex rolls over, asking what exactly was that the other night, and Elizabeth tells him that it's just a one-night stand to satisfy her curiosity. But don't get your hopes up. There were no feelings involved. If you missed the last episode, the thing that Psylocke had to give up in the other world to save Fantomex, that was her emotions. Back in the White Sky showroom, the woman begins to walk Wade through, telling him that they grow all types of assassins here to suit whatever he needs, even implanting memories to believe that corporations are behind their family's deaths. As they continue to walk, Wade notices an empty showcase, and the woman tells them that that is where they held the Omega Clan. Unlike their other models, those ones were derived from the remains of the actual Omega Red. Behind Wade, a tendril appears, and it grabs Wade, and the woman tells them that they underwent programming to grow a personal hatred towards their new targets. Can you guess who they are, Mr. Wilson? Back at Cavern X, Logan sees the emergency call from Wade, and he says that he'll gather everyone up, and then he hears Elizabeth telling him that they're going to be one short. She's quitting X-Force. Logan asks her why. She tells him that she needs time to process everything that has happened with Warren and Jamie. She can't just continue to kill. She won't watch how far she'll go. As she walks away, Fantomex tells him, hey, there's no more Warren, there's no more money, so there's no more me. So with only Nightcrawler staying by his side, the two of them head over to Wade's signal, over in the Pacific Ocean, where Nightcrawler teleports them into the floating facility. Logan looks around to see the assassins already waiting for him, and he thinks, this is what they wanted. They wanted us to know that they were coming. That way I can release the animal inside. He pulls out his claws and he begins hacking and ripping through the people in front of him until he sees Wade running past, stating, you should run! Looking at what he's wearing, Logan asks, what do you have on? And Wade says, it's the JCPenney Dapper Boy springwear. Just shut up and run! But it was too late. The Omega Clan grabs a hold of Logan and Nightcrawler, telling them that they will suffer for slaughtering their parents. As Logan struggles, he can feel the tendril slowly moving inside of him, filling him with poison. Wait, no, that's not poison. Logan's body begins to become bloated and fat, and Omega Black says that they will now suffer for their retribution. They will suffer at the hands of the Omega Clan. Over in Paris, Fantomex walks through a party in his apartment, trying to pass the time, telling himself, he doesn't need Elizabeth. Logan will find Wade without him. But soon he finds himself staring into the city from his balcony, and that's when he hears Elizabeth's voice calling out to him, asking if they could talk. The way she feels about him so soon after losing Warren, she knows that he's mad, but if he'll just listen. Fantomex turns to the crowd inside and tells them, party's over. Collect your familiars and your servants and get out. As the crowd leaves, he turns back stating, okay, talk. Back at the White Sky showroom, Omega Red tells Logan that he's feeling the effects of his super lupus. Inflammation runs amok and his body swells with pus and spontaneous decay as his body is consuming itself. He will die bloated and ridiculous after what he did to their parents. He then continues by explaining what they did to their parents. It was him, Deadpool and Nightcrawler. They came when the Omega Clan was kids, and they killed their father, Omega Red. Then, when their mother hid, they killed her too.
I think we're ready.
Grows fatter. He struggles, telling them, this isn't right. We just met the elf, and Wade just started running with us. We were never together that many years. Below them, though, Wade sits at a computer picking out various options that maybe he can use against the Omega
Just
plan.
on that arm there, you see the difference?
Rockets are harpoon genitals, guns. Lots of guns. Lots and lots of guns. Above them, Logan continues to struggle, but he ends up falling down to the lower level. And then Omega Red tosses his body off the ledge to an even lower floor. Over in Genosha, Kitty Pryde and Hank look over the destroyed city. And Kitty tells the students that is why they need to make sure that they can coexist with the humans and never repeat what just happened here. Above them all, Sabretooth watches, and one of the boys points at Evan, stating, "How about we don't raise our very own apocalypse? Seems like a good way to avoid any more genocide, right?" Kitty stops the boy, telling him to shut up. Whoever Evan may resemble, she will not stand for this kind of taunting. Elsewhere, though, Shadow King watches Kitty, as well as the other X-Force members, telling Sabretooth that the Brotherhood is activated. Go ahead and grab the boy. A voice then tells Shadow King, "I'm ready to live it up, because soon we're going to have our own apocalypse." Back at the White Sky showroom, Logan starts picking himself up, knowing that he needs to get this poison out. Then he does the only thing that he thinks will work. He starts to tear open his own stomach. During all of this, back in Paris, Phantom X asks Psylocke if she's going to suddenly remember that she hates him, and Elizabeth tells him no. But she does have a surprise for him, so close his eyes. Phantom X closes his eyes, and he tells her that she should know that he'll need at least 5 minutes before he's of use again. And then he tells her that he remembers when he first saw her. She had such amazing, pure violet eyes. She then pulls out a gun, and Phantom X continues stating, which is why he found it odd that she suddenly had specks of yellow in her eyes right now. So he pulls a gun on her, and then Psylocke begins to change into Mystique, telling him, "Shall we just get on with it?" And she fires a shot, but Phantom X ducks and tackles her down, stating, "We shall." Back in the upper levels of the White Sky showroom, the Omega clan continue to beat down on Nightcrawler as he tries to fight back. But as Nightcrawler falls to his knees, somebody hears a voice stating, "Beware, the Lord of Hot Dogs approaches!" And just then, Wade's robot that he created flies in, attacking the Omega clan. And then Logan and Wade run in.
Maybe I need to get a softer lead. Let's get rid of that a second. Get rid of the dusty bits.
Logan then says, "We gotta find Psylocke and Phantom X. Everyone is in danger, and I don't even know who we're dealing with, but it's bad." Over in Paris, Phantom X.
So you can see what we're left with.
The rooftop, and he tells her that she makes love.
We're left with just the ink now. I've left a little bit shaded at the bottom of it because I just like to have that shade there. But I'm going to really gently pick off all of these little bits. Can't quite see them, but they're not handy to have them there, so I've got to redraw some of it. That's what I'm going to do now.
He grabs her, pulling her down, stating, "I'll stop you." She falls through a hole and she gets back up, seeing Phantom X escape. And then over the radio, she asks if he was poisoned. And she tells them, "Oh yes, poisoned to the gills." Back in Genosha, the boy from before calls Evan over, telling him that this place is creepy, huh? Must be a paradise for a psychopath like you. But you know what I see when I look at you? A monster. But then a voice says, "Such a subjective concept." And Sabretooth appears, slamming the kid's head to the ground, telling Evan, "Let's go take a walk and get to know each other." But before they can walk off, another student stops him, and Sabretooth looks at him, telling him, "You have stupid hair." And then a voice from above says, "His hair is all bad." And Blob comes crashing down, sitting on the kid, stating, "You just needed a little styling grease to give it more of a relaxed look." Evan runs off, and he begins to hide in a toy store, and that's when he begins to hear Sabretooth telling him, "You've been lied to. You've got power. Power to change the world." Sabretooth then appears behind Evan and says, "You just need a better teacher, that's all." And then he shocks him with a stun gun. Over in New York, Phantom X rides Ava to Elizabeth's apartment and jumps through the window. And when he lands inside, Shadow King tells him, "Ah, new friends." Phantom X asks,
Shadow
"Where
King.
is
I've been
Psylocke?"
watching
And Shadow King tells him that he came here expecting
Legion
to
lately.
that had
Oh,
caged
that's a
him
good
so many years
program.
ago. But instead he found this fragile, broken girl. She's over in the bathroom. Phantom X runs and kicks in the door, seeing Elizabeth sitting in the tub, stating, "She did it. She killed them all. Forever." He leans down, telling her everything is okay, but she pushes him away, telling him to get away from her. He tells her he's not going to hurt her, but then a tendril freaks out, grabbing him.
Going back over a few things now.
"Look,
as you can see,
terrified
needed a little bit here and a little bit
Skinless
there.
Man slams Phantom X into the mirror, and just as he goes to stab him, Phantom X grabs Skinless Man and slams him into the toilet. He then turns and grabs Elizabeth, pulling off his mask, and he places it on Elizabeth so that the dampening plates and the mask will block Shadow King's connection. But the problem is, Phantom X knows that without his mask, he's the next target. So he grabs Elizabeth and he begins to head back to Ava. And after getting her on board, Skinless Man reaches out, grabbing him. And Phantom X tells Ava to get them the hell out of here. The airship leaves, and Skinless Man begins to pull Phantom X back through the window. And he tells him, "Just where were we?" Skinless Man holds Phantom X up, telling him, "We have the boy. And now we're going to crack open his brain and use him for all manners of misbehavior. Just know that you were the one that set it all in motion." Skinless Man then sticks his knife into Phantom X's chest, and he pulls out his heart, telling him, "So many brains, but only one heart." Back on Ava. Ava tells Elizabeth that the connection between her and Phantom X has been severed, and that Psylocke needs to jump before Ava crashes. The ship flies over to Cavern X, but as the ship begins to fall, Elizabeth jumps out while Gateway, another mutant with the ability to teleport everyone everywhere, watches. The ship crash lands, and with Ava down, that means that Phantom X is dead. And Gateway goes to help Elizabeth back up, and through the explosion, a figure starts to walk towards them, telling them, "Do not fall into despair. The second stage has just begun." Inside the cavern, Logan tells everyone, get the medical lab prepped as Psylocke walks through the door, falling over. He catches her, telling her that everything will be okay, but she tells him no, nothing is okay. He's dead. And then Logan asks, who? And a voice over the monitor tells him, Phantom X, stupid. And then everyone sees Dakin on the screen. Sorry, Dad. I killed your friend, so I guess I'm grounded now, huh? Logan demands to know what he wants, and then Ultimaton jumps down behind Gateway. Before Logan could do anything, Ultimaton snaps Gateway's neck and then begins to start charging. Dakin tells him, funny thing about Super Sentinels like Ultimaton, once free of Phantom X's control, they go right back to their primary function, killing humans. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants watches on screen as Cavern X explodes, and Dakin tells Evan, being a bad guy is a better side of the coin to land on. Luckily, 30 seconds before the explosion, Psylocke realized what was going on, and she realized that she needed to get everyone out of there. Understanding that Gateway is their only way out, she links to Gateway, telling him, please hold on, and forgive her for this, but he needs to send them away. Send them anywhere but here. A blue light begins to shine, and then as it fades, Deathlock tells them, right on time. Welcome to the future, X-Force. Then he tells them, we need to go. I'll explain on the way. Everyone begins to look around, and he tells them, you're in Los Angeles, 30 years into the future. Just as you were about to die, you were warped here. There's no need for secrecy. I am not here to hurt you. But there are others who are, and they're anticipating your arrival. Wade tells him, I bet you're dying to say, come with me if you want to live, right? But who's they anyway? Down in the alleyway, Deathlock hands them a bug, telling them to hurry up and put these in your ears. It'll keep you guarded from the magistrate's thought crime surveillance. Psylocke tells him that her mind is well guarded, and Wade asks, are these Bluetooth compatible? Deathlock then takes the group down into the sewers to have those injured receive medical attention. Then he tells them to hurry and gather themselves. We'll be leaving in 5 minutes. Logan tells Deathlock, look, we just lost 2 of our own by my son, who's looking to mind tweak a young Apocalypse unless we stop him. So no orders. And Deathlock tells him, murder is the wrong solution. And Logan says, all right, lesson learned. But what the hell is the plan? As Deathlock walks off, he tells him, you will see. And then he shows them around. And after that, he uses one of Kang's Chronos cubes to send them back. A little later, topside, Frank Castle reports that there are no sign of them yet. Below him, though, Logan asks why the Punisher is hunting them. And Deathlock says that they need to send them back to the proper time before they see, before they change. You must follow me. Soon, Deathlock leads the group to the other side of the building where they watch officers pull a man from his apartment while his wife shouts, he didn't do anything yet! And the man tells her, no, not yet. The officers take the man and they throw him into their aircraft and they fly off. Psylocke asks where are they taking him, and Deathlock tells her preventative termination. Your methodology taken to its exponential conclusion. Logan then asks, who's in charge here? And Deathlock points to a massive billboard telling everyone, Magistrate Braddock. Deathlock explains that the boy that they saved, Evan, he ascended to Apocalypse and became the worst threat that the world has ever known. So Logan gathered an army of X-Force to stop him. And they did. After Apocalypse was killed, the world was free, and everyone celebrated them as war heroes, electing them to ensure such monsters like that never rise again. And years later, he killed every single known criminal. But after there were no more criminals, Logan began to lead the army in preemptively killing anyone who thought of killing anyone. And Logan says, stopping killers before they kill? What's so bad? Deathlock slams Logan, shouting, murder for any reason is still murder. And Logan tells him, sometimes murder is a necessary sacrifice. As Logan walks off, Deathlock pulls out a gun, cocking it, telling him, I will save the world from you, the only way that you would understand. He then begins firing the gun, and Nightcrawler grabs Logan before he's hit, so Deathlock turns to attack the next closest person, Wade. But Wade tells him, wait! So you're going to kill us to stop us from creating a future where we kill people from stopping them from, ouch, my head! Nightcrawler then reappears with Logan above Deathlock, sending Logan flying down onto him. Deathlock manages to catch him, stabbing Logan with his own claws. And as Wade runs in to help, he finds himself getting punched in the face and knocked back. Deathlock then stands over Logan, pulling out a Kree staff, telling him, this will evaporate your flesh. But before he can strike down, Deathlock is shot multiple times in the head. Officers then begin to show up, and Deathlock crawls to the side of the building, telling them, because you turned to murder, you deserve to die knowing that this world will go on. And then he crawls over the edge. A short while later, Cable reports that Deathlock is down, and Logan asks him, awful strange business we're in here. So are you here to help us, or? And Cable tells him, I'm not here to hurt you, no matter what lies that freak told you. Wade tells Old Pool that he has some questions. Like, when they got older, how's the SAG factor? Low and lazy? But future Wade tells him, shut up. Where did Braddock go? Elsewhere, Elizabeth runs through the rooftops telling herself she will kill her own future self. She will put an end to this. She will stop all of this from happening. And once she reaches the edge of the building, she stops and draws out her sword. She then holds her sword to her stomach, stating, "If this is what I am to become, then I will kill myself before it happens." And she thrusts the sword into her own stomach. All around Elizabeth, the world begins to change and things begin to become distorted. All she has to do is finish it, sever her spinal cord. But before she can, Frank Castle flies up, pulling the sword out of her and telling her, "I'm here to help." But Elizabeth kicks him in the head, telling him, "Oh, I'm sure you are." Slowly, she begins to get back up, walking to the edge of the building. So Frank pulls out a gun, telling her to stop. But as she jumps, she asks, "Or what? You'll shoot?" She doesn't get very far as Cable flies through, grabbing her, but Elizabeth continues to fight by headbutting him, causing his hoverbike to crash into a building. Cable then fires a grappling hook to catch them, and again, Psylocke fights for them to fall, and soon a red cloud appears, catching the two of them. Nightcrawler is the one that caught them, and he appears with them back on the roof. Logan runs over to check on what's going on, but she says she cut right through. She's dying. Future Logan flies in and tells them to give her over. There's still a chance. And current Logan tells them, "It's okay. Being you, I know you're not going to let her die." Elizabeth struggles and breaks free from Logan, telling everyone, "This isn't your decision," and she runs into Wade, grabbing his gun. As she holds the gun to her chin, Future Psylocke tells her not to do this. This isn't the way. Lower the weapon and calm yourself. The sleep comes. And slowly, Psylocke's eyes begin to close, and both Logans scream for her not to do it. "Don't close her eyes!" As everything begins to fade to black, she begins to hear a voice, the voice of Warren, asking her if she's dead again so soon. Warren helps her from the fountain. She wakes up and telling her, "What you're doing is wrong." She tries to say that she can't let what's happening continue, and he tells her, "There are devils, but you aren't one, nor is Logan." But did she ever think what Fantomex did was right? As ugly as it may be, he saved hundreds of millions of lives, just as you did when you stopped me and set me free. Elizabeth says that all she wanted to do was protect her friends and family, and Warren tells her, "You have, and you will. So now, you need to forgive yourself and find a new love. Allow yourself joy, because in the blink of an eye, we'll be together again." Soon, Elizabeth awakes from her dream, but then she sees her future self and tells her, "It was you! You used Warren to change my mind to keep me alive." Future Psylocke tells her, "I didn't know such thing, but I even still see him in my dreams. Love leaves a mark on the soul." Psylocke snaps at her, asking, "What do you know about love?" And her future self tells her, "More than you know. What we felt for Fantomex was true, but his love would have corrupted us in the end. So you'll get over Warren and Jean-Philippe, and you will find fulfillment elsewhere. And when no one else can do what is necessary to protect mankind, you will." Psylocke tells her that she's a murderer, but her future self tells her that this world is perfect because of it. So Psylocke tells her, "Nothing you say will convince me that this is the solution." But future Psylocke tells her, "I already have, or we wouldn't be here." Soon, the future versions of themselves begin to prepare everyone to return home, and future Logan tells them, "You know what you're up against. It'll be hard, but you can hack it." He then leans in and he begins to whisper something to the current time Logan, and future Psylocke tells everyone to be safe. Moments later, a light begins to shine and the group returns back to their time. Future Logan then walks with future Psylocke, asking, "Do you think he'll do it?" And she kisses him and tells him, "We're still here, aren't we?" In our last story, the X-Force had just returned from the future, where the idea of preemptively killing potential criminals was normal, and Psylocke was the head of it all. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants had finally gotten what they wanted in the present time. They got the child Apocalypse. As the X-Force returns, they learn that Evan has been taken, and it's time for them to move out and end this once and for all. It's another day in Kansas for Evan, as he plays catch with his Uncle Cluster. His uncle tells him about Insabah-Nur, the first mutant on Earth, and how they were selected to ensure mutants would flourish and become the dominant species. However, Apocalypse's duty was stopped by the X-Men. When the X-Man Wolverine learned of a reborn Apocalypse, he formed a team known as the Uncanny X-Force to kill him. However, that monster was still just a boy. Evan wants to know more about this. Did they actually kill him? And his Uncle Cluster turns away and walks back inside. As Evan follows, he's told to go wash up for dinner. And as he does, he asks, "Why was I never told about any of this before?" And as he looks in the mirror, he sees himself as Apocalypse. And then the Shadow King in the door telling him, "Because Uncle Cluster was the one who shot you." Soon, Evan awakens from his dream, and he finds himself in an RV with Dakin, Sabretooth, and Shadow King welcoming him back to reality. Evan tries to use his eye blast, but the Shadow King tells him that he's a powerful telepath equal to that of Charles Xavier. So, if he doesn't want Evan to use his abilities, well, he won't. As the RV drives on, Dakin stops at a gas station and Sabretooth gets out. And Dakin says to Evan, "If I told you that Sabretooth was going to kill everyone inside unless you killed him first, would you?" Evan runs out telling him, "I'll find another way!" But as Sabretooth enters the store, deciding which one to kill first, Evan fires his eye blast, knocking Sabretooth away. Sabretooth lays on a broken shelf and he says, "He held back So this woman pays. He then punches through a woman's stomach, and Evan jumps on him ready to fight, ready to release his powers, but he hesitates. Sabretooth grabs him, telling him, "That's what I figured. So whoever I kill, it's on you." Soon they head back out, and Dakin tells him, "Preemptively killing? That's tough. Your dads are hypocrites." And Evan says, "They aren't my parents." And Dakin says, "Right. About your parents." Our next stop is Evan hits the Shadow King, telling him no! And he jumps out of the moving RV and begins running towards his home. But when he enters, he sees Sabretooth and Dakin already there with his parents murdered. He begins to fire his eye blast, blowing up Sabretooth and Dakin, launching them out of the house. And as he gets outside, he sees the two are not dead, and he begins to fight them. But just as he knocks Sabretooth away, Dakin jumps in from behind, slicing Evan up in the back and then his chest. He tries to fire again, but Dakin just dodges and slices at Evan's chest again. The anger inside of Evan grows, and he grabs a hold of both Sabretooth and Dakin, telling them, "I will crush you!" And then he stops and he tells them, "But I won't be like you." Dakin tells him, "That's some pretty good self-control. But there's some good news and some bad news. Good news is they weren't actually your parents. Bad news is, well, your parents never existed in the first place, kid." At this time, Logan and the rest of the X-Force return from their time travel adventure to find Deathlock. And Wade tells him, "You know, the last time that I met you, you tried to kill me within an hour." Deathlock tells the team about Evan being kidnapped and the plan to corrupt him. He then tells them that he'll take care of the Automaton, but he wanted to leave X-Force with one thing: beware of vengeance. For it corrupts those who live to enact it. Later, Evan sits in a room telling himself how he loved his parents, but it was all a lie. Uncle Cluster's lies. Headmaster Logan's lies. Good people couldn't. Dakin and Sabretooth, they told him the truth. He is nothing more than a science experiment cloned from a boy Uncle Cluster murdered. Maybe he should be the one to hurt the liars. Moments later, Uncle Cluster comes running in, calling out for Evan, and then as he hugs him, he sees the blood. As the body falls, Skinless Man tells him, "Surprise! Uncle Cluster is still dead." Evan knew him as Uncle Cluster, but actually, he's Fantomex. And then behind Skinless Man and the corpse of Fantomex, Dakin tells him, "That was really screwed up, man. Look, I know you're pissed, kid. So that suit right there, put it on. It'll amplify your powers and make you into a god. If you put it on, you can get your revenge." The suit he's looking at is the Apocalypse suit. Dakin and Skinless Man then leave Evan to think, but as they walk out, Sabretooth pulls Dakin aside to make sure, "You still got it in you, right? Logan never respected you before, but now he will. He's going to be hard to kill, but you can succeed where the others have failed." Sabretooth continues to tell Dakin how Logan pampered this Evan kid while leaving him his only real son in the shadows. So now it's time for him to rise. He deserves a father who loves him. A short while later, Sabretooth visits Mystique as she gets out of the shower, telling her that they need to talk, away from Shadow King and the others. But as she asks him for what, he tells her, "Be quiet. You might be listening." The two of them leave the underwater facility, and Sabretooth tells her that he thinks they have a problem. Shadow King may have been listening on her murderous thoughts about him. He worries that the Shadow King is using Evan for himself, and if that happens, then we're all in for a bad century. Mystique tells him to just come out with it. I can smell the lies. What the hell do you really want, Sabretooth? And he tells her more about what we want. And then Psylocke drops the illusions and says that they need a few minutes alone with her. As Psylocke looks through her mind, she tells everyone it might be too late. Sabretooth seems very confident that Evan will crack. Logan tells everyone not to worry. He's a good kid and he won't go dark. But Nightcrawler says Evan is being tortured and the Shadow King is in his mind. We need to be prepared to kill that child, or we will lose your world. Elizabeth tells him no. But speaking of all of this killing, why isn't Dakin's name been mentioned? Logan argues, "It's not that simple. He's my kid." Psylocke turns to ask Wade where he stands on this, and when everyone looks, Wade is gone. Back inside, Evan looks at his suit, and then he hears a voice behind him telling him, "I couldn't do it the first time around." And as Evan turns around, he sees Wade holding a gun at him, stating, "But now I can." Back topside, Wolverine and Psylocke make their way down into the underwater facility where Evan is being held. But deep down inside, Wade tells Evan, "Hurry up, we have to get you out of here." And Evan asks him, "Why should I trust you? Aren't you just here to kill me?" But Wade tells him, "What I am is some kind of unhinged psychopath covered in guns and swords. However, I'm one of the good guys." Dakin and Omega Black appear at that moment, and Wade tells him, "You know, listening in is super rude." He tries to escape with Evan, but as he runs, Omega Black catches him with her tendrils, and she begins to pump him full of cancer toxin. Wade begins to fight back by cutting off the tendrils, and he jumps behind Dakin, firing his gun into him. Blob begins to run after Wade, but as he rolls underneath him to his backside, Omega Black begins to attack again. Except this time, Wade jumps over Blob, causing him to be the one injected with the cancer toxin. As he lands, Wade draws his sword, telling Dakin, "You killed my friend. Prepare to..." Evan and Shadow King stand over him after being shot by one of Evan's eye blasts as he tells Wade, "These people told me the truth. They could have killed me, but they didn't, Wade." Elsewhere, Mystique begins to wake up from Psylocke's attack and finds Nightcrawler watching over her. She tells him, "You're not my son." And he tells her, "Yes, actually, I'm from another place." The two begin to talk as Mystique asks him how she was in his world, and he tells her she was a hero. She's dead now. She then asks him to tell her about the world that he's from, and Nightcrawler tells her that it was a world where her companion Blob killed his wife, and the world was then ravaged by the same beast that they planned to corrupt, followed by Weapon X. Mystique then asks if he's here for revenge on the man who slaughtered his wife. Well, she can give it to him. Back down in the facility, Skinless Man and the rest of the Brotherhood discuss how the others are going to be coming, and when do they think that Wolverine's going to be here. Sabretooth asks, "What are you, dim?" And as he looks up, Wolverine bursts through the ceiling, and Sabretooth says, "He's already here." Wolverine begins to swing at Sabretooth, and then he grabs him and slams him into a terminal next to him. But the feral berserker begins to come out, and Wolverine begins to knock Sabretooth away. Omega White runs in, but Wolverine kicks her in the head, breaking off parts of it. Wolverine then tells himself, "I need to find Evan." But as he goes to leave, Skinless Man grabs him in place. He quickly turns, pulling himself closer to Skinless Man, and he stabs him in the gut. And as Logan lets go, Omega Red tries to attack. Just as the tendril hits Wolverine, he grabs it and pulls him close, slashing away at Omega Red's chest. Wolverine then hears Sabretooth telling him, "It was a bad move to come here alone," and the two of them begin to struggle. Elsewhere in the facility, Psylocke begins making her way through trying to rescue Wade, but along the way, Shadowkin can hear her talking to Wade in his mind, and with her mind open, he begins his onslaught of her on the mental scape. As Psylocke begins to open up her eyes again, she doesn't see the facility. Instead, she sees Shadowkin. Back with the computer room, Logan beats down on Sabretooth when he hears Nightcrawler and Ava bamf in. Wolverine says that he told him to wait outside, but then Ava stabs Logan in the neck, and then he sees Ava begin to change into Mystique. Nightcrawler tells him, "I'm sorry, but I came here to have my revenge, and I will do it by any means." As Wolverine begins to wake up from Mystique's poison, he sees himself tied up to a table, and Daken asks, "Hey, would you like a drink?" After pouring the two of them a drink and drinking all of his, Daken slams his cup back down, stating how watching him act like a hero has always made him feel bad, and he began to hate the very thing that he was genetically intended to be. Wolverine, though? He can murder people and still call himself a hero, a teacher, a good guy. And he hates
Okay, guys, well,
being true to what he is.
I think that's all the inking that needs to be done for today. That, as you know, that sound is my son turning up and coming home now. So I'm going to leave it here and say thank you very much for watching. If you have liked it, don't forget to leave a like. And if you want to see this get coloured in, join me tomorrow. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys, and goodbye. Check out the latest games, or see the links that will appear.